Florence is my favorite Italian nation in EU4. In 1444, this small country might seem like any other republic in this mess we call Italy, but it has great potential. With a booming economy and a strong political system, Florence is set for early and successful conquests and the chance to unify the Italian population. This is the story of a small nation that went from irrelevant to a major global force, and how it set the stage for one of the most ambitious empire-building stories in history. Florence's foundation as a republic dates back to 1115, when the people rebelled against the Margraviate of Tuscany after Matilda of Tuscany's death. The Florentines formed their own commune, governed by a council called the Signoria. During its existence, Florence became a thriving center of trade, dominating European commerce. The lands of Tuscany are flooded with intellectual thought, as all of Italy stands on the precipice of Renaissance. New ideas are spreading across the Italian peninsula and giving all the region's rulers something to think about. The Medici family in particular are ready to take the changes in ideals and are worth keeping an eye on. Florence has an enormous potential and can become either popes or unify Italy into their own rule. As Italy finds itself at the brink of the Renaissance, Florence takes advantage of this opportunity to expand its influence across the region, allying with Milan and Lucca. The city-states of Ferrara and Bologna were crucial to Florence's ambitions. The province of Ravenna, held by Venice, was also claimed by the Florentine leaders, as its conquest was the starting point of weakening Venice's influence in Italy. Florence knew that it needed to act quickly and decisively, or else a major defeat would signify being divided into many smaller and weaker city-states. In the fall of 1446, on October 1st, Florence sent a formal declaration of war to Ferrara, primarily aiming to conquer the province of Modena. The city quickly fell as the highly trained Florentine army moved, overwhelming Ferrara's defenses. Having occupied the city, the Florentine forces turned their attention to the city of Ferrara itself, where they engaged in a decisive battle. The 6,000 Ferrarian troops weren't prepared to face the Florentine army, who outnumbered them. The city was heavily fortified, and despite their initial advantage, the Florentine forces found themselves facing more struggle than they had initially thought. From September 1447 to August 1448, a lengthy siege took place, lasting nearly a year and draining both sides' resources. Meanwhile, tensions between Florence and Venice were rising as they set their eyes on the province of Ravenna. Following the moderate success against Ferrara, Florence declared war against Venice, marking the beginning of another war in the region. Florence and Milan quickly mobilized their forces. Milan, already having a history of rivalry with the Republic of Venice, posed against Venice's influence in northern Italy. Their combined troops quickly marched through the Veneto region, securing a good amount of territory before marching towards Treviso. They wanted to occupy this province to have a main gateway to the city of Venice. The important Battle of Treviso saw Venice's 23,000 troops fight against the combined 24,000 soldiers of Florence and Milan. After intense fighting, the Florentine-Milanese alliance emerged victorious, forcing the Venetians to retreat. The Allies then laid siege to the city and the region. After some good amount of fighting in the annexation of Ferrara, Venice saw no other way except signing a peace treaty. The Treaty of Padua, signed on September 17, 1453, granted the province of Ravenna to Florence. Additionally, 384 ducats of gold were to be paid to the Florentine and Milanese governments. This marked a decisive victory for Florence and Milan, shattering Venice's dreams of expanding in Middle Italy and weakening its influence. Florence was slowly securing dominance over Italy, but the best was yet to come. Florence went for Bologna, a small city-state near Modena, issuing a war declaration not long after the war with Venice. Bologna, under the protection of the Papal States, quickly called its forces to join against Florence. As the war escalated, the Pope, head of the Catholic Church and leader of the Papal States, condemned Florence's ruler, Savonarola, for his actions, excommunicating him and sending military aid to help in the city's defense. The outcome of this war led to a long, fierceful rivalry between the two regional powers. Florence emerged victorious, annexing Bologna into its growing empire. However, it came with a significant cost, as Florence struggled to maintain control over the province, as unrest and resistance spread across the local population. The following uprises would be a headache to Florence for years to come. For centuries, the Holy Roman Empire had control over Italy, maintaining dominance through diplomatic alliances and political influence. However, internal struggles and the rise of powerful states like Florence had weakened the empire's influence, eventually abandoning the region. After the removal of the Italian lands of the HRE, Florence would go on a conquest spree in the Italian peninsula, annexing Siena, breaking its alliance with Lucca, and conquering them with no resistance. However, when Florence turned its attention to Parma, a small province in Milan, formerly an ally of Florence, the Pope intervened. He warned Florence that if they declared war on Milan, the Papal States would join with Milan. The Florentine leaders ignored the warning and sent a declaration of war on August 15, 1478. The Florentine quickly marched towards Rome, ignoring the Milanese troops coming from the north, aiming to lay siege in the city and occupy the city before the Milanese could reach Florence's capital. They were not expecting the large battle that would unfold. Just outside the city, approximately 20,000 papal troops were fortified and prepared for the Florentine advance. The battle that followed would last for more than a full day, as both the Italian powers clashed against each other. The outcome of the battle could change the balance of power in Italy. Thanks to the mercenaries hired by the Florentines and their highly trained army, they emerged victorious. By the end of the day, nearly 12,000 soldiers, both Florentine or Roman, lay dead or wounded. The majority from the papal side, though the Florentine had suffered significant losses. This victory would change the reality in Italy and affirm Florence as the dominant power in the region.